For years, facilities have relied on manual cleaning and disinfecting processes that depend heavily on time, technique, and human consistency. Yet the risks they're trying to control are microscopic, they're persistent, and they're unforgiving. Even well-trained teams can't always see what's missed. They can't always measure what's effective or verify that every space has been truly disinfected. Today's conversation explores how advanced room disinfection technology is changing that equation, bringing precision, validation, and accountability into environments where safety matters most. It's my pleasure now to introduce Griff Ferrara, the product manager, Tru-D SmartUVC, a PDI solution. Griff, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I know you have technology to talk about, but let's start with yourself. Tell us what you do at PDI and with Tru-D.
As you mentioned, my name is Griffin Ferrara. I'm a product manager for Tru-D. And in my role, I have pretty much two responsibilities. My first responsibility is upstream marketing, and then my second responsibility is downstream marketing. So I work with our R&D team. I work with our engineering team for pretty much anything product related. And then simultaneously, I support our sales and our commercial team, giving them the tools that they need to be successful, and then working on anything that's publicly facing, like our brochures, website, social media, et cetera. So that's my role here at Tru-D.
Well, let's talk about what you do with the technology. Talk about Tru-D and the UVC technology that we want to learn about.
I guess I'll start first by kind of introducing Tru-D. So Tru-D SmartUVC is a company that works in the UVC space. We've been a leader since 2007, and we offer intuitive disinfection solutions. So we have two flagship products. We have our IQ Tower and our IQ Scout. I guess just generally too, the company is headquartered in Memphis, Tennessee. And we're owned by our parent company called PDI, which is based in New Jersey, and that's where I'm based out of too as well. So to kind of go into a little bit of background on UVC technology in general for those who might be new to the space or are just starting to learn about it, UVC technology is short wavelength ultraviolet light, and it's designed to deactivate microorganisms. So when UVC light and UVC technology is paired with normal manual cleaning processes, ultimately you can get positive disinfection outcomes. And that's the goal of any UVC light disinfection program, is to get those disinfection goals, get those as a supplement to your cleaning protocols.
Yeah, I've looked at UVC myself, and it's good to understand the technology and see how it works. I think some watching our program today, they might value how it works, but they might wonder, how do you maintain it? Because we're not talking about a sprayer. Talk
Yeah.
about that. What are the parts to be concerned with when it comes to maintaining these devices?
These are, precision instruments. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of them. These aren't things that you're just like one-time use. You want to make sure that you're taking care of them. So I'd say there's two key things of any UVC device that you want to make sure you're taking care of. First and foremost is the bulbs, and then the second part I'll just say is kind of generally calibration. But let's start with the bulbs because they're really, the heart of any UVC device. That's what's generating the UVC light. Unlike normal bulbs that you get in, your office or your house or your bedroom, UVC bulbs are, of course, generating a very specific wavelength. It's usually around 254 nanometers, and that's specific because that's the germicidal wavelength, and they're designed to put out, a very predictable output. So unless you are a superhero, you can't tell if the output of these bulbs are decreasing, which is natural. This happens with any types of bulbs that you're using, but the human eye can't perceive it. So, my first piece of advice from the maintenance perspective is you really want to make sure you're staying on top of bulb health. It doesn't matter, what manufacturer you're using. If the output declines, you're not going to be getting the efficacy you would expect to see. Where this is particularly important, though, is if your device is running based off of just a specific set time and the UVC output of that bulb is decreasing, you're not going to be getting the efficacy that you're expecting. In the case of Tru-D, we don't have to worry about that because our cycle time is based off of the reflected light coming back. So bulb outputs, decreasing just results in a higher cycle time for us. But regardless, my point being is you want to make sure you're on top of your bulb health because that's, of course, the most critical element of the machine. The second part that I'll just touch on briefly would be the calibration side of things. Our device specifically uses these sensors to, read what's coming back. It's want to make sure that the output it's putting out is actually what it's reading. It's honestly, Jeff, it's kind of like any sensor on any piece of machinery. They're going to drift, and you want to make sure that they're calibrated. So aside from that, you can have cables you can check casters, you can update firmware. I think all of those are quite straightforward. But I'd really say the bulbs and calibration are the key parts of maintenance of UVC devices.
Let's talk about best practices for keeping it all working as it should. Anything to add there?
So there's a lot of best practices, but what I really boil it down to would be three key best practices. The first of which would be staff training. The second of which would be a really good cleaning protocol for your device. And then the third of which would be following the IFU. And I pulled this together, talking with our team, make sure that they agreed with what our best three pieces of advice were. But I guess I'll start first with the staff training because I really think that's the most important part. Any person who's operating a UVC device, or to be honest, any piece of precision machinery, they need to know how to run it. They need to know how to use it, how to place it properly in a room, and of course, read all the safety indications on it too as well. What we see though is, and this is the case too for Tru-D, is that we do one big training when people get our devices. And then soon after that, there's staff turnover, or there's new hires that have joined the team. And that's where the errors start to come in. And so our recommendation is really to make the training process an ongoing thing. It's not something that's just one time. We need to provide the materials, the how-to guides, the videos for how to maintain and upkeep the device. And again, that's ongoing. It's not one time. For us too as well, Tru-D is more than happy to come on site as many times as it takes, as many new hires as there are to make sure people are up with the device. The second piece I would say, and this goes generally for any UVC device, is that you want to make sure you're cleaning the device properly. I know for the IQ devices, you absolutely cannot use hydrogen peroxide. It'll destroy the plastics, it'll destroy the sensors. You want to make sure that you're cleaning the device and you don't accidentally put it out of warranty by doing something that would mess it up. And so, regardless of who you're working with, just be careful, make sure you're using the right things to clean it. For Tru-D, we recommend the PDI Super Sandy Cloth and Easy Screen, but make sure you're reading up on whichever device you're using because you want to make sure you're staying in warranty. Third one I mentioned was IFUs. This kind of just goes to my last point. I think I can speak for all UVC manufacturers when I say this, that when they take the time to put together IFUs, these are not just suggestions or they're not recommendations. They're really a step-by-step guide for how best to maintain your device. So although those documents can be long and maybe a little tedious to read, they're going to give you the best step-by-step guide to make sure that your device is operating as it was intended to.
Griff, what you just described, great details. I love it. But it sounds like a strong customer support relationship is vital. So can you get into that a bit? Companies that provide this equipment, they have to have good customer support for their end users. Talk about that. What does that look like?
Yeah, so for us, the cornerstone of our support is true 24/7 technical support. When somebody has an issue, and fingers crossed, Jeff, it hopefully never happens, but of course they do. And usually it doesn't fall neatly within business hours too as well, if I'm being honest with you. You want to have a phone number that you can pick up and you can call, and you're going to get in touch with someone who knows the ins and outs of the device. And that's what we strive to offer here. So we have, the 24/7 support is really the cornerstone of what our offering is from the service perspective. What I'd say kind of as a background for that is for everything to actually work, we need to have good tracking. So we have a centralized ticketing system that when a customer reaches out with an issue, It creates a case. That case then gets assigned, and then we're on top of that case until it gets closed out. If we didn't have that background going on, then it would be us writing it on post-it notes, and we wouldn't be able to keep track of that. But that's really the backbone of how we're able to provide that consistent service. I'd also say as a suggestion too for really any company, maybe not even UVCs, is having these regional hubs where you have access to parts. Of course, these devices are highly reliable, but accidents happen and things need to be replaced, whether it would be bulbs or sensors or important critical devices that are inside the actual machine itself. And you want to have access to those parts quickly and from regional hubs. You don't want to be waiting for them to come in the mail. And this is something that we have access to. We're able to kind of distribute our parts through all of our reps, and that means that we can get people up and running as fast as possible. Again, I think that's just advice for anyone who's selling a piece of capital equipment, but it's important, of course, in the case of UVC as well.
Now, Griff, we all know that UVC devices are complex pieces of equipment. So you talked about the support, the parts, everything to keep everything working. Someone may be watching this program and be like me, and I can't really fix anything myself. So talk about on-site support because that has to be part of this as well. Is that true?
Yes, it is. And Jeff, I'm like you. If you were to have me come out on site, it probably wouldn't go too well, but I can help you with the marketing side of things. But no, I mean, for the Tru-D, what really works best for us is having a national team of local representatives, our support representatives. And there's two components to that are really critical. The first part is the speed. Because we have this national team of technical service reps, what we're able to do is get on site as fast as possible. So, you're not waiting for people to return a phone call. You're not waiting for people to come on site. Typically, our team is dispatched within hours. And that makes a big difference, especially if a facility's cleaning protocol calls for, every single room to get a Tru-D disinfection cycle. What I'd say beyond that too, as well, is because we have that regionalized team, they get to know the folks that they're working with, which sounds cheesy, but it's really important. It's just like any type of cleaning process, whether you're using wipes or whether you're using, it could be anything. Each facility has their own protocols, their own processes, their own goals with what UVC disinfection means to them. And having somebody that you're able to build that relationship with and can provide service and support based off of what your account is trying to do, it's honestly a differentiator for us. So I honestly can't overstate the value of having that, national team. It's what makes, our service, I think, just a little bit different.
That's called peace of mind, knowing that you're there to be on site to help as
Yes,
needed.
again, and those are the technical folks. That's not me coming on site. We
That's
have
all right.
folks who know everything in and out about our products. So
Yeah, it takes a village, doesn't it? For
it
sure.
does. It absolutely does.
I want to talk, I have like a two-parter question for you here about how
Yeah.
Tru-D handles service contracts. That's part one. But I've
Yep.
also heard of something called Tru-D Care.
Yeah.
Can you talk about both of those topics?
Anytime folks get a device, we also want to offer them the ability for our team, all the great things I just talked about to, get that value from our team. And what that encompassed as is Tru-D Care. So the way I describe Tru-D Care is, kind of support, but it's just more than basic support. We have preventative maintenance in Tru-D Care. We have quarterly utilization review calls. We have device loaners, we have parts coverage, access to our smart hub. There's probably a few other ones that I'm forgetting in there too as well. But really what we try to do is just offer this all-encompassing package that's way more than just the device itself or just basic service contract itself. Like for example, one of the preventative maintenance things is our team will come on site annually, make sure that your bulbs are working, like I'd mentioned on, earlier in this conversation. Make sure that your sensors are working. Something that you're going to get from an on-site experience. So that's kind of what Tru-D Care is. The other best way to explain what Tru-D Care is it's more of a commitment from us to our customers. So first commitment is you're going to get that 24/7 support. That's like always going to be there. You can always pick up the phone and we're going to be able to support you. But beyond that, if you create a case with us for an issue, within 24 hours, we will have reached out and provide a solution. Within 48 hours, we will have either an on-site visit scheduled, or if a phone call will be able to repair your device, we will have your device fully operational. And then lastly, and hopefully we never get to this stage, but if your device does have to come back to the factory, we will have scheduled or have already shipped you a loaner device so that your operations can go up and running. So I think when I try to conceptualize what Tru-D Care is, it's really giving our customers a consistent budget and a consistent commitment to uptime of their device. And the last part I would just add to that would be the Smart Hub side of things. That's our reporting interface. So it really gives you actionable insights beyond just using the device, who's using it, how are they using it, what protocols, et cetera, so that you can really get the most out of the utilization of your UVC program.
So I think it's time to share those watching the program. How can they learn more? Where can they
Yeah,
go?
absolutely. Sure. So I would say that the best way to learn more is probably go to our website, Tru-D.com, Tru-D.com, or follow us on LinkedIn. We post a bunch of content on there fairly consistently, both stuff for folks who have, new to UVC and they're looking to learn about the technology or about Tru-D, but also folks who, might be experts as well. We have good stuff on there too, for those folks. So those would be my two recommendations.
Well, Griff, it's been a pleasure meeting you and talking about this.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.